goes. So the theme is, when it's right, it flows easily, flows easier. Yeah. And that came when I started to think about how sometimes in the human existence, when we're being in our human self, not our spiritual self, but that ego self, that human self, sometimes we tend to create harder times for ourselves. Anyone ever had that happen? I know I have. Hopefully the more aware we become, the more that starts to change a little bit, or we see it a little bit differently. So when I thought about that idea of when it's right, it's easy, the whole idea was that when we're in alignment with something, whatever it is, we tend to move towards it easier. It tends to come easier. Have you ever noticed that? And that what we tend to do sometimes is push aside what's easy, and we keep trying to do something over here that feels hard. And for whatever reason, maybe it's just we want to change it, or we want to make it get easier. And so we keep hitting our heads. Has anyone ever experienced that? It might be in a relationship, or it might be in a job, or it might be with your health, or whatever it is. It's like, well, I'll just keep banging my head and maybe it will just get easier. That's kind of that human prototype, I guess. And then I started to step aside from that and think about, well, what if, right? So we're here on a spiritual journey, aren't we? I mean, we're all here to open ourselves up spiritually, really, and learn more about ourselves and look at different ways we can see things, right? So then I started to think about, well, what if, no matter what was happening, no matter what was showing up for you, what if that was okay? What if that was perfect? What if that could be easy? Interesting thing to think about, isn't it? So I got a call today from one of the practitioners for the center, one of the spiritual practitioners who lives in Queensland. And so we support each other. She's in Queensland, and I knew she was going through some hard stuff, and I said, call me, let's talk, And so she's got some health issues happening, and she said, I just have so much resistance. I can feel that a lot of this, she's talking, that a lot of what's happening to her right now is resistance. And it's making her upset, and she's fighting against the resistance. Fighting against it, like, no, I don't want it here. And I said to her, so what if you embraced the resistance? Embraced it, made it okay, loved it, accepted it, made peace with it. What would happen then? She said, oh. So that's a good thing to just sit with. And she's going in for a procedure tomorrow, and I said, so what if you just, in the next 24 hours, just really contemplated that, really talked to that part of you that wants to resist and loved it and brought it together. Because what we tend to do sometimes is separate those parts of us we don't want. Oh, well, resistance, go over there. Fear, go over there. And they're all parts of us. So what if we could bring them all together and just love them? Just accept, embrace them as part of ourselves. Take it by the hand. Like we talked about sometimes, take your fear by the hand and go do this stuff anyway. But looking at those parts of us that are in the way, and instead of being angry at them or wanting to push them away, to actually bring them in. Does that make sense? I think the journey is to embrace, and accept rather than want to push away. And then it will show up easier. There'll be more ease and grace. And ease and grace in our body. Because every time we push against something, it causes a blockage somewhere in our bodies. So the more we can love and accept and embrace whatever's going on, whatever discord, whatever thing that feels out of control or feels whatever in your mind, to make it okay. Is anyone willing to practice that in the next month? Like really become aware of that and practice it. Be conscious of it. So Shar said to me on the phone, I said, do you know how to do that? Like, do you know how to embrace your resistance? She said, not really. And I said, well, you do know. I mean, go into prayer about it. Go into, just talking to it. Encouraging it. Being okay about it. It's like, how do we chunk things down? How do we make things more simple? Because we most certainly know how to complicate things, don't we? Humans are really good at that. I've certainly been there as well. But how do we just make it simple? I think now, the older I get, the more I realize that simple is so powerful, and that there's a part of our being that just wants simple. That our soul sometimes just wants that feeling of simplicity. Have you noticed that? Like if there's clutter in your house and you clean it up, or you do something you've been putting off, how much better it feels? Simple. Getting the energy and the vibration back to something that feels better. I thought that this was so important to talk about today. That whole idea of when it's right, it's easy, but when it's wrong, it can be easy too. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say that a different way. How often do we make something wrong? Like, having the resistance for her was wrong. So how many things in your life right now are you making wrong? When maybe all you need to do is reframe it, is look at it in a different way. Is that maybe it's not wrong, maybe it's there for a reason. Everything is there for a reason. That pain in my back on Friday night was there for a reason. Had me on my knees. I certainly couldn't push it away. I just had to surrender to it. And sometimes we're just being called to surrender to something, to stop trying to fight against it, and just surrender to it. Do you know what I mean by that? Surrender the fight to it. Give it up. It's okay not to know answers. It's okay not to know something. The ego doesn't think so. That part of our mind wants to know everything, doesn't it? Wants to be right, it wants to know, it wants to be in control, and when it's not, it goes crazy. So the more we can encourage and say, it's all okay. It's almost like it's a little child that you have to sometimes go, it's okay. Everything's okay. Because our spirit knows everything's okay. Do you know that? Do you know that your soul, your spirit, your knows that everything's okay? Yeah? Hello? Yes? Sometimes you might forget, but it does know. The only part sometimes it doesn't know is that part, that egoic part of the mind. So sometimes we just have to remind ourselves and just say it's okay. That this is happening for a divine purpose, whatever it is. The more we can look at something and create ease and grace, the easier it will be to move through it. Isn't that true? And there's so much unease. There's so many people sick. There's so much illness that's happening. There's so many people with cancer. Why is that? I've had cancer. why is it? Like, it's an interesting question to ask. What is cancer? It's just cells that have, not become healthy anymore, have changed. They have started to struggle. That grace and ease isn't there. So it's so important to create grace and ease. That was such a perfect song in our life, in whatever's taking place, in your body temple, in your mind. Everything starts from here, doesn't it? The mind is what controls everything. Everything. So an affirmation every day to start with might be, I am open to create ease and grace today, in every area. In every area. I wrote down, everything has a purpose and a reason in our lives, even the chaos and pain. I saw, talked earlier that we went to see Dave Stringer, and he's a wise man. In between these devotional songs, he shared some things that were so wise. I sat there like, very cool, and he talked about chaos. He talked about, that we want to push away chaos, but in the chaos is creativity. Through the chaos comes great things. Through the pain comes great things. Great things. We could create amazing things. If you think, I was sitting there listening to him and thinking about all the people that have created amazing things, amazing paintings, amazing creations through pain and chaos and agony and all the hardship, created masterpieces, right? Isn't that true? Name some. Who comes to mind that through hardships created masterpieces? Van Gogh. What singers, what songwriters come to mind? Karen Carpenter. Louis Armstrong. Leonard Cohen. Roy Orbison. So in every one of us is a masterpiece, whatever that is. And if we can look at it that way and reframe whatever's going on, there's something incredible wanting to emerge. If we let it, if we embrace whatever's going on, we can say, wow, okay, I'm going to take this pain, I'm going to take this and I'm going to just see it in a whole new way. I'm going to go, bring it on. I'm ready to emerge. This butterfly is emerging out of that cocoon. You always hear that, I remember Michael Beckwith always saying that this spiritual journey isn't for wimps, right? You have to be really courageous to be willing to go through that dark night, that dark time, to get to the light, to let more light in. And Dave was talking about that at the concert, about the cracks. When you have a crack, through the crack comes light. When you feel like everything's falling apart, through that comes light, comes greater good, comes something incredible. So it doesn't always show up easy, but through that comes ease and grace. True? When I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer 6 years ago, I felt the lump here, and I'm pretty in touch with my body as a healer. Have been a healer all my life, so I'm really in touch with what's going on, and I felt it, and I thought, no, it's okay, but something in me, because my mother had thyroid cancer at the same age, so I thought, okay, better just check this out. And went and did the medical stuff, and went and had a biopsy, and the biopsy didn't say cancer. It said that cells were atypical. So it was kind of left to me of what did I want to do about it. And I just went in. I wanted to go in and was so much fear that came up for me. You know, you hear the word cancer and it's like this, you know, just brings up brought up so much for me, you know. And I thought, well, I can heal this. I've helped other people heal cancer. I can do the same thing. And so I kind of went through this journey for a long time, you know, seeing people do my own healing, doing all that stuff before I was willing to have my thyroid taken out. And then I knew that it was time. There was a time when I thought, okay, you know, we'll see what happens next. And you know, it was an incredible journey for me. And it's taken me 6 years later. I've realized that there was a part of me that was so shocked, you know, shocked that I couldn't cure it. That, you know, when they went in and took out one thyroid, came back and said it was full of cancer, Laurie. I was so surprised. And through that shock, it took me to another level. You know, it was like I could have had it stop everything. I could have stopped doing healing. I could have stopped everything. But I knew that it was going to take me to a higher place. You know, that through this experience, I could help people in a different way. You know, in a way that I hadn't experienced before. So no matter what shows up for us, you know, no matter what the experience is, we can always, always, always see it in a new way. So I always ask the question now of, what's the gift in this? What's the blessing here? What wants to reveal itself from this situation? So I'll just invite you to close your eyes right now. And just tune inside to you, to what's going on inside of you right now. And just breathe nice and deep, right inside of you. And if there's a particular situation happening for you right now that you feel stuck or feels hard, to really open yourself up to see it in a new way. To see it with ease and grace. To bring in the ease and grace now with it. To affirm to yourself that, you know, you're open to see the blessing here. You're open to have something amazing revealed to you. Buddha says, you, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserves your love and attention. So right now, just send loving energy right to yourself. No matter if nothing's happening, you're just feeling good, that's okay, that's great. Just send loving energy into yourself. If there's a place in your body that you know is not feeling well, place your hands there and imagine that loving energy. And imagine that whatever is happening, whether it be in your body, temple, or in your mind, that you can just say it's okay. It's all okay. That something wonderful, something incredible, something magnificent is emerging from this. And I'm open to see it. I'm open to accept it. And breathe that in. I'm open to have it revealed to me. I'm open to listen to what my body wants me to know. I'm open to receive wonderful things. Esther Hicks says, the way we feel is our indication of our vibrational connection to that which is source. The better we feel, the better our connection. So no matter what's happening, we want to come back to that source. To come back to that connection. To know that no matter what, something good is coming out of that. And if we can know that inside of every part of our being, then it's going to make the ride easier. It's going to bring about much more joy. However we hold it is how it shows up. However we hold it is the vibration that we're holding there. So if we want to create a new vibration, we need to see it differently and bring in that vibration. Because whatever you're aligned with inside of you is what comes in. Isn't that true? It's a powerful one. It's a powerful one to practice every day. If you're waking up feeling yucky and terrible and like, go away universe, I just want to put the doona over my head, to really say, is this what I want to create today? When we're in that place, it's hard sometimes to get out of it. But it's just a step-by-step process. To take a breath in and say, with this breath, I'm choosing to let some light through the crack. And then we let more light in. This is a journey for all of us, and some days are much easier to let this stuff in than other days, and that's just the journey. And on those days you go, okay, what did you do with that in your mind? It makes all the difference. So if you're feeling all these emotions or all this stuff, then embrace them. See if you can embrace it and make it okay, instead of making it wrong. Or that's not good. We kind of have these boxes, the good box and the not good box. So this one fits in the good box, and this one fits in the not good box. Well, God doesn't see it that way. Spirit doesn't see it that way. Doesn't see duality. Sees all the same. There's always the yin and yang. There's always that part. And it's like, if we want to feel whole, we bring it all together and say it's all good. Isn't that right? It's all good. Whatever's happening, it's all good. Repeat after me. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Even the yucky stuff. It's all good. That's a really important one to play with, to sit with, to just chew on a little bit. That ego's going to go, are you crazy? It's not good. Is she nuts? Yeah, it's easy for her to say. Isn't that true? Is that little voice going, she's full of, isn't she? Yeah, it's easy for her to say, she's got it all good. No, I'm just human, believe me. I've been on this journey with you guys, I'm not on any pedestal here, My shit smells too. That's going on tape. Really, if we could laugh at ourselves more and not be so bloody serious and be okay and just be able to laugh at the humanness of us, it just makes things so much easier, doesn't it? Really, truly, now in my life at 54, I just want more ease and grace. I've had enough of the hard stuff. I've had enough of hitting my head against the wall so many times, it's like, oh my God. So we have to make that decision. Sometimes we have to hit our heads against the wall enough times where we go, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. I can just embrace this and see this in a whole new way. Yeah? That sound good? How does that feel in your body? Doesn't that feel better in your body? Rather than fighting against something, just to embrace it. How many have resistance in your life? There's things you resist. Anybody here? Yeah. So what are you going to do now with that resistance? I want to hear.
Love it.
Love it. Embrace it. Talk to it. Welcome in. Okay, so what are you here for? What's your purpose in my life? Okay. All these parts of us, really, truly, even though you think they're trying to kill you or they're trying to do something, every part of us is really trying to protect us. I mean, if you look at the deepest part of these parts of us, and I've worked with this type of healing for so long, and you ask these parts, what's the highest purpose for this person? They'll say, to protect. And I'll say, yeah, but do you know that's not really helping this person? Is there another way to do it? And then these parts will go, yeah, there is. You know, sometimes these parts have been with us since we were little, and they don't realize that we've grown up and we just need a new way of looking at things. So you kind of go, okay, it's okay, and let's find a new way. Let's find an easier way. Let's find a more joyful way of doing this, of looking at life this way. Because this other way isn't getting me where I want to go. Sound like something to try? So what's the first step?
Surrender.
Surrender. Be willing. Be open. Be willing to just embrace yourself, even the parts that you want to push away. Because the more we want to push away, we separate from. You know, we separate from parts of ourselves. So welcome everything in. You know, welcome. Bring everything in as a whole of you. And then those parts are going to feel more loved. There's so many parts of us that don't feel loved. And truly, I think in the deepest thing, when you break everything down, humans, we just want to be loved, don't we? I mean, really, you know, every single one of us, no matter who we are, want to be loved and feel loved. Isn't that true? Mm-hmm. But it's not external. We have to start within ourselves. That's where it starts. That's the hardest part of it, you know? That we've got to start within ourselves, looking at the parts we've separated from and say, I'm going to just love those parts. I'm going to welcome those parts. I'm going to embrace those parts. I'm going to just be okay about it right now. No matter how my ego feels about it. Just something to think about, you know? I think it's good when you can just contemplate things and something in you can just be with it, chew on it. Take a deep breath and let it out. Take another deep breath and let it out. Just take a moment in that stillness inside of you, just to say inside yourself, I'm okay. No matter what's happening, everything's okay. It's all here for a divine purpose. Everything taking place in my life is happening for a divine purpose. And I'm open to find out what that is. I'm open to explore it. I'm open to learn more about it. To see it in a whole new way. To embrace it in a whole new way. I'm open to embrace myself in a whole new way. So repeat after me. I'm open to embrace